Hey everybody, Alex here. Few, I don't know, month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I don't remember anymore. Time is a flat circle. Um, I did a video about my first impressions, first thoughts after dry fire and range trip with the CZ-P10F optics ready model. No optic on it yet, obviously, but I do have about close to 2,000 rounds through this now. Happy to report that I was able to get um, probably 500 to 700 rounds of steel case through it. Um, Tool ammo, and I think one other brand, I don't remember what brand that was, along with more varieties of brass cased ammunition, including some higher end defensive hollow points and things like that. No malfunctions whatsoever. I've been keeping track of where inside the in the internals and everything. Everything looks great. There's no issues popping up. There's no undue wear and tear. There's nothing so far at 2,000 rounds, which is still not a super high number, but no problems. No problems. It's been wearing in very nicely. It didn't need that much wear in to begin with. Actually, after that first range trip, I think it pretty much got to where it needed to be. And by the second one, which we only fired about 200 rounds with this student I had for that one, and at that point, it felt fully worn in, fully broken in. The magazine springs, which were initially incredibly stiff, I can now load to full capacity, no problem all day long. Everything is holding up great. And it is just proving an absolute joy to shoot. And not just for me, but I've noticed with my students, they really seem to like it. And most of them are beginners, so they may not have a lot of experience with other guns or whatever, but one thing I've noticed about this in comparison to other guns I've had students practice on in the past, my own personal firearms, that they seem to shoot better with this more quickly than with other ones. So that's something interesting I noticed. I'll probably attribute that to the pretty light and pretty good factory trigger on this. The controls for newcomers are also not terribly complicated because there's no external safeties. You only have the trigger safety. The opinion of my students has been pretty good. No one has ever, and I specifically asked for their opinions about this after they're done firing it. It's like, well, what did you think about this in comparison to some other the ones I had them shoot? And they said they really liked it. I had a few people complain that the texturing on the back and the front did bother them at first, but then after a little while, it started to go away. Probably within 50 rounds or so, once they got more of a feel for it. Most people seem to not have a problem with that. I did have one student who really didn't like the texturing. And, personal preference, that's fine. And one student who just seemed to struggle with slide stops in general, but that was across several handguns. So take that for what it's worth. It's not, I can tell you here, there's nothing weird about the slide stops on this. It remains at first I was kind of like, about the purchase. And then I got that first range trip. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about that. And then I'm firing more and more and more and having students fire it more and more and more. And I'm getting a lot of confidence in this, actually. I've actually gotten happier with it over time. I started off a little bit skeptical, actually, because it's a very new design, and it's very new to me. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and I know the first generation ones were plagued with some problems. None of those have shown up. I've kept very careful track of all the internals and the wear points in them, any possible striker rotation issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That has not occurred. None of those problems have occurred whatsoever, at least on the one I have. I don't have an optic on it yet. I will be getting one whenever I can afford to. I'm going to go for a Trigicon RMR Type 2. A little bit pricey, but I think the only other thing I can think of is aftermarket stuff. Let's talk about aftermarket. So the aftermarket, as of the date of this video, is really not that good. Finding holsters has been a problem, but I did find a couple of websites, or a couple of shops, I should say, that do customized Kydex holsters and stuff like that. For specifically, there's a lot more out there for the P10Cs, but for the P10Fs, and I would imagine the P10Ss as well, it's been very hard to find holster manufacturers. I have found a few. I'm not going to endorse any of them because I haven't actually bought a holster for this yet, aside from some random crappy whatever just for range use. But that's just a one size fits all. That's just for surely that's just for carrying around unloaded at the range. So I don't have to constantly set it down on the bench or something. As far as purpose-built concealed carry holsters or open waistband holsters, or I think there was also a retention holster. I think was it Safariland? I don't quite remember. So keep in mind, these are not endorsements. I'm not getting paid to mention them. I don't own any of their holsters. These are just if you have this handgun and you're looking for places that currently have some holsters available for the P10F. There's ANR Designs. And then there's Shook's Custom. Shook's Custom, I think, is currently totally on back order. They're not accepting any new orders. ANR is accepting new orders. It's a 4 to 6 week lead time, but they are accepting new orders. Both of those, yes, I think both of those places, you can customize it for whether or not it has a weapon light on it, what kind of optic you're using, whether you have suppressor height sights or not. Those are all included in the options. Again, I don't know the quality of these websites. I'm going to pick one up relatively soon. And when that comes in, I don't know who I'm going to get it from yet. When that comes in, I'll do a little overview of that, see how that works. Both of them seem to receive fairly favorable reviews overall, but we'll see. Other than that, not much else to say. This continues to be a great gun. It continues to run just great. Yeah, pretty happy with the purchase. If you're on the fence about this, and you want one, I say just go for it. I don't think there's any reason to hold back now. And I've seen other people do torture tests with these, with higher round counts. A few other people on YouTube have done these. And they have been reporting, I think, pretty positive results overall. So probably go check out what they're saying about the second gen ones to verify and get their opinions and get some other perspectives. But in my case, at least, this is an absolute thumbs up for me. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. Just a little update there. So far, no problems. Continues to be pretty damn good gun. So take care, y'all.